if you're going to say, right, well, there's nothing to split them, and then you have to split them, well, the greatest horse we've ever seen and his training of that horse.
That's your ace card.
And I know he's got Ballydoyle, and I know he's got Coolmore, but if you put him in a tin shed in Cornwall, he'd still be the best trainer.
Gosden's very relevant right now, and I think the way Gosden's managed that number of horses for so long must count for something.
Yeah.
The only person I've ever seen stand in front of a horse galloping straight towards him and not even flinch or move a muscle.
Hello and welcome to Inside Track, the debate, brought to you by William Hill. And on this episode, we're going to be ranking our top 5 all-time flat trainers. My name is Kate Tracy, and joining me to rank these trainers are Louis Stewart, Sir A.P. McCoy and Nick Luck. So lads, the 5 trainers I would like you to rank are Aidan O'Brien, Sir Michael Stoute, Richard Hannon Sr, John Gosden and Sir Henry Cecil. So again, no easy feat for you whatsoever, but you've got your whiteboard, so take it away. Right lads, whiteboards at the ready and turn around in 3, 2, 1. Aidan. Perfect. At least we've started with some proper agreement then here. But Nick is analysing Louis' list and then some right now. So Nick, I'm fascinated to know what's going through your mind.
I'm trying to work out what it is about the 3 titans of Berry Road that's made Louis put them in that order. Stoute, then Gosden, then Cecil. Well, Sir Henry was actually just up the road in Warren Place, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Yeah, why have you put Cecil below Stoute and Gosden?
For me, I worked closely with Sir Michael a few years ago now, and like all the stories are true. What you hear about him, like his demeanour, the noises he makes, everything makes him such a character, and his attention to detail is spectacular. Like I've never worked with someone that is so intricate like him. Even when you finish a piece of work and he'll have his hand under the horse's nose and feeling how hard it's blowing on his hand and throwing the bit of paper over his shoulder, and everything just made him a character, and you felt that aura around him. I mean, what he's achieved in horse racing is second to none, and his ability to develop these older horses into absolute superstars. I mean, I always used to remember coming back from a winter break and the 3-year-olds would have grown twice the size and they'd be like bulls walking around, and it was like just seeing that development, what he could do was pretty special. And for me, more sentimental reasons from working with him, he's in that position, Nick.
And seeing it firsthand though as well yourself. Like I say, I love hearing those little attention to detail things. And it's something that we know about Sir Michael Stoute's horses, of the improvement then to their 3-year-old campaign. So for you to actually see that firsthand is quite something. And AP, you've also got Sir Michael Stoute then as second in. Why's that?
The top 2 of trained champion hurdle winners. Thought that was good enough reason.
To be fair, you can't knock
I
it.
thought that was a good enough reason. Maybe put them up.
James Fanshawe, does he get a bit of a credit for training Crebensis as well as Reelgate and all that lot?
You know, anyway, no. Do you know what? It was a touch and go between Sir Michael and Sir Henry Cecil. I don't know. I could have, you look at that time of Steve Cawthon riding for Henry Cecil with, the likes of Dominiendo and Reference Point and Slip Anchor and all those kind of horses. And then you think Sir Michael trained Shergar and has trained whatever for the 5 consecutive I don't know, a very close call. They both trained brilliant horses. Obviously Sir Henry trained Frankel at a later stage of his life when he wasn't well. Could have put either one of them in either place, to be honest. It's a very tough call. What do you think, Nick, between the 2 of them?
Did you find them easy enough to split them, Nick?
Yeah, I think I did. Because I think...
Do you think Sir Henry trained more champions than Sir Michael?
Yeah, I think Sir Henry might have just been a little bit... This is going to be contentious. Obviously, Sir Michael Stoute is a brilliant trainer. I think he's all about patience, about developing the athlete, about maximising a horse of maybe only good potential rather than great potential, turning some pretty good horses into great horses with ingenuity and with time and with patience. I thought Sir Henry Cecil in his absolute pomp was the fiercest competitor. I mean, ruthless competitor. And B, just a tiny bit braver in the way that he went for it. And possibly to the cost of a horse's career longevity, But I think he was just an absolutely mustard competitor in the day. Just a very, very hard man to beat. He was going at about 1 in 3.
No easy feat them whatsoever. And I think people sort of forget plenty about Sir Henry Cecil, though, because of course we have the recency with all the Frankel.
Well, then there was all the Frankel thing, but I think Frankel
incredible.
contributes as well. Like if you were going
Hugely.
to say, right, well, there's nothing to split them, and then you have to split them. Well, the greatest horse we've ever seen, and his training of that horse.
That's your ace card.
That might go, okay, fine, that bangs him up a place.
Yeah, but even prior to that, though, where I feel that people...
There'd be plenty of people who aren't us four who would have had him at the top.
Yeah, 100%. 100% that he would have had there. But where do you have him, Louis, Sir Henry Cecil? Do you have him down?
I mean, I found it hard.
Fourth.
It's down, yeah. But I guess I see it when it was in a bit of a lull his career.
He wouldn't like that. If he was around now, he wouldn't like that.
He'd give you a list.
He would, yeah, he would. Yeah. I mean, Frankel was exceptional and he got trained amazingly. But I can't, I feel from recent years I'm judging him off what he trained by how he dealt with Frankel. I can't really go back too far, so that's why he's there. I mean, Gosden's very relevant right now, and I think the way Gosden's managed that number of horses for so long must count for something.
Because what would you say, how would you characterise John Gosden's training methods nowadays? If you were to ask someone to just give the bio of how you would explain Gosden's training methods, what would you say?
I mean, he makes you feel at ease when you ride for him. I had a few rides for him, and I remember this filly of Sheikh Hamdan's. He told me it was nice, but without telling me it was nice. He said, don't hit it. That's your only instruction. It needed one flick, and it would have won by half the track. On a list of racing a Group 3 after that, I rode to instructions. But it's like...
What was her name?
I can't remember. You caught me off guard.
You're welcome.
But it's just the way, again, he trains them to progress. Not so much in the long run where Stoute would be years. Gosden still has that in mind that they're going to improve from their first run. They don't need a hard time and there's bigger days to come. Again, I'm going off who I've kind of worked with and no, but Sir Henry Cecil is... Nick keeps giving me funny looks.
No, I'm not giving you funny looks. I'm not giving you funny looks at all. I think John Gosden's a really interesting man and a kind of an interesting trainer as well, whose kind of career was always good in America and then good here, but then became a great career when he got to Clarehaven and then assembled this kind of amazing squad of horses. And he's been a great statesman for the game as well, and I think that stand him in good stead. I think the pressure on the trainers now at that top level to actually get out and run horses and get competitive early is not as great as it was on the trainers in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. But do you think is that a positive or is that to detriment then?
I don't love it because, I think everyone's almost got too much time now.
Yes.
They're always waiting for something.
Always that. And do you think then, AP, when we're talking about, I mean, Aidan...
Aidan's not though. Aidan just cracks
No,
on.
that's exactly it. Where Aidan's almost from a former dynasty or former era then of trainers, where so he can, but of course he's got different pressures altogether then in comparison to a John Gosden. But the training pressures nowadays in comparison to what it was are very, very different.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being really honest, I put Sir Michael ahead of Sir Henry because of he might see this.
So who's the only person likely to see this?
Not him, but
none of them.
No,
absolutely none.
But just in case someone, you know what I mean.
Maybe Thady might watch it.
Yeah,
I suppose that's the only thing. So actually, let's put Gosden
quickly
at the top.
squiggle.
I
Take him out.
I'm in
stick
Thady's
Gosden
good
at the
books
top.
here.
Is it John, by the way, or is it John and Thady? You need to make.
Yeah,
See, we have got John as down on the list, so I feel like we're too into the new era then of John and Thady Gosden, where we can't be.
Could it be Richard Hannon Sr. and Junior?
And Junior.
Like we went back with the jockeys and all that. You can't go back. But you look at Vincent O'Brien, was flying horses out of Ballydoyle in the 70s, like flying them on an airplane out of a yard in the 70s, and won Grand Nationals, Gold Cups, all that.
But I presume. With the jockeys, you managed to get Gordon Richards in here.
Yeah.
But I'm presuming this is definitely
modern
of the contemporary era.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to have to put that in because
and it's not even no disrespect to the others. It's not even close. Now I know Aidan O'Brien has got the best facilities and he's got Coolmore and he's got Ballydoyle and he's got all the stallions and Galileo and all that. But from Jim Bulger's, he was champion amateur. Anne-Marie his wife was champion jumps trainer when he went when he moved there. He became champion jump trainer as well himself. Broke all the records.
26 was it? 26.
Broke all the records. The jump trainer.
He was younger than that, wasn't he?
24 or 5, I'd say.
Like nothing.
1990, he got a fall off a filly called Damshit in gyms, and he dislocated his shoulder and he didn't come back. I remember the day it happened, and he was champion amateur jockey at the time, and then he started. He went to with Anne-Marie, and Anne-Marie became champion jumps trainer. Obviously, her dad Joe Crowley was a very good trainer, but she became champion jump trainer. He became champion jump trainer. 1996 or whatever it was, he went to Ballydoyle. I think Classic Park won the Moyglare or something. I think she won the Guineas the year after. But he had trained obviously Istabrach to win champion hurdles in those following years. Broke all the records as a jump trainer, and has won 10 Epsom Derbies. Is going to win more Royal Ascot races than any. He's going to win more than everyone ever in anything.
But if
and I know he's got Ballydoyle, and I know he's got Coolmore, but if you put him in a tin shed in Cornwall, he'd still be the best trainer.
But if Dr. O'Brien was on this list,
Yes.
I'd put him on the top.
That's what I was going to say. Where would you put him then?
I shouldn't have mentioned it, to be honest.
You'd have him above.
I think he possibly had the greatest impact in horse racing in Europe than any trainer will ever have in that.
So it's the Piggott principle again, isn't it?
But again, Nick, if you look that for someone to go to America and decide that Northern Dancer was going to be the thing, and buy Nabinstrel and Nijinsky and all the horses that he bought, and you look now through all the pedigrees in all of Europe, Northern Dancer is in most of them.
Yeah, exactly. Like say shaping the sport, literally shaping the sport then.
And then we haven't even mentioned.
No, we haven't even got to Richard Hannon Sr.
Who, in terms of a people person, and if you want to bring a fella into a yard and say, this is how you're going to entertain him, and this is how you're going to make him enjoy him, the fella from the street in London, then Richard Hannon would be your man all day.
No better place to go then. And that's a huge part of it, Louis, then, isn't it? When, especially nowadays in the trainer game, is the entertainment part of it for your owners. And for all that, we've all got Richard Hannon Sr. as the bottom of our list of 5 there. He would arguably be the best of those, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm not saying he knew anything about social media, because clearly he probably didn't, but like, he was the ultimate entertainer, the real governor of the sport in his like division. Like the way he operated with his owners was different, I guess, to a lot of people. He used to welcome them in and stuff. And obviously the way racing's developing now is all on social media. But I loved Hannon Sr.'s bullishness. Always, if he had a good one, he'd tell you he had a good one. And it was always known to everyone what his thoughts were and how he see the race sort of developing and what horse he had. So he was bullish and an absolute gentleman as well.
But if there's a revolving door for the 5th on the list, or the 4th and 5th on the list, then you'd have to put people like Mark Johnston in, who started with absolutely 0 on an airfield in Lincolnshire with 2 horses and ended up training more winners than any other person in history, in Britain anyway, not including Jean-Claude Rouget in France, but in Britain. More than anyone else ever, including Group 1 winners and Classic winners and whatever else. I mean, that's an astonishing feat, and regularly knocking out 200 winners a year.
And that's something that we've touched upon on this show beforehand, like say the starting from nothing aspect of racing and how we give extra credit basically to those sorts of characters who are able to do that. So Mark Johnston would 100% be on that list then for that. So we've had 2 extra names to throw into the mix though. But but Richard Hannon Sr. though, to you, Nick, what did he sort of represent to you?
But also contain, and this is where the operations continued. That again, I've used the word brave before, but that operation always courageous enough to go and buy a lot of horses that don't have owners yet, and a lot of those horses they then sell on, for not much more, and they go and win Group 1 races. Camford Cliffs was not an expensive horse. No. Hartem is not an expensive horse.
Like if your man in the street was to go to buy a horse, then who would it be?
Well, you might not get in. You wouldn't
get in. Richard Hannon.
You wouldn't get in anywhere else.
His only hope.
Yeah, that would actually be your only hope.
Not being disrespectful to Richard Hannon, but
you like you say, your average man's trainer then for Richard Hannon Sr. in the best possible way. But it is interesting though, and sort of the different regimes of training. I mean, APTU, what makes a great trainer? Is it the horsemanship? Is it the race placement? Pardon?
Results make everything great. And
so whatever result, at whatever level though, how would you categorize?
Because everyone has got opinions, haven't they? You know what I mean? But factual stats and all that don't ever, you look at Aidan O'Brien, it's continuous. It's continuous year on year on. I wasn't that long ago people saying, when Galileo was gone, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? Or, because he had Galileo and he had every Galileo and every pedigree in the world.
But he was doing it before Galileo and he's doing it after Galileo.
And he'll do it after Galileo.
Exactly, it's not.
And it doesn't matter whether, he hasn't had a really good sprinter of rate, has he? I know he's Stravinsky and Mozart and
Star Spangled Banner.
Or a Yates that come in 4 Ascot Gold Cups.
Yes.
So the mind of the training level of different athletes the physique of athletes is different. So it's a little bit like the same with a racehorse. So to be able to train them, to get them to win all at different distances. I remember watching Music Box winning in Doncaster 9 years ago. She won the Group 2 or Group 3 in Leisure Weekend. It was her 18th start of the season. How do you get 18 runs into Philly?
How is it even possible to get that many runs in?
And it was her best ever. It was her best ever performance.
Yeah.
What was the one that went all around the world again and again and again and again? Magic Wand.
Magic
Wand.
Magic Wand.
She ran it
everywhere. Yeah.
Found. So never mind training the brilliant racehorse, but to get that stuck in my mind. Music Box stuck in my mind. I think she might have won a listed race or something at Naas in end of March or April. But on her 18th run, Chad, and she won.
Not even that far into the season.
Also, neither Sir Michael Stoute, nor John Gosden, nor the late Sir Henry Cecil, nor Richard Hannon Sr. can or could ever reverse a pickup truck at 60 miles an hour, 1 inch away from some of the finest thoroughbreds in the world.
And it's good for them to get used to
it's
it.
good for them, and get away with it.
And get away with it.
Precision, accuracy, and not miss an inch.
Exactly. Yeah, thank goodness that he did it. Yeah, 100%.
Also, just one other thing.
Yeah.
The only person I've ever seen stand in front of a horse galloping straight towards him and not even flinch or move a muscle. Like, honestly, like some.
I reckon Clive Britton would have done that.
Clive probably would have
taken him on.
Would have just taken one for the team.
Yeah, would have just taken him on, eyeballed and taken him on. Yeah. What happened? What was the end result of it? What was the outcome?
The horse was galloping straight towards him. He got out of the jeep, stood stock still, and the horse took one look at him and just came to a halt.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
It stopped, and everyone says that about him.
Dead.
That Aidan, his horsemanship. Was it with his Scorpion?
It's not horsemanship. That's like that's like something from I don't know what.
Terminator. Stare them down. But that's what people say though about Aidan. We saw that before the Derby even. I mean, he almost got kicked by his own horse in Los Angeles. But his uniqueness.
His reactions were quite quick, weren't they?
They were rapid, I know, unbelievably so, those packed legs. But people always say that.
In Los Angeles before, that's why.
Yeah, he knew exactly where he was, where the firing line was. But Aidan's horsemanship was always something I always heard about, and it was Scorpion who was always Scorpion, wasn't it? Who was always playing up.
Yeah,
and as soon as Aidan put a hand on him, then it's almost like he just knew to behave himself, and that in itself, I think, is something that you've just got that or you haven't.
I think not going back to know him obviously since I was a kid, but Jim Bulger saw it in him 100%. He'd always say with a troubled horse, get Aidan O'Brien to sort it out.
Really?
And the other person who saw it in him was Christy Roach. And I'd say that's why maybe he ended up in Ballydoyle at the time when he did. But yeah, definitely. They saw it in him from a very young age.
A magician of a man.
Stick Jim on this list. He might watch. He might be watching.
Here we go. There we go. Well, if he's watching, then we'll definitely stick him on the list then. Our also eligible list then is going to be just as long as everything else. But we're all in pretty sound agreement.
Oh, God, Dermot Weld.
Oh, no. Yes. He won't be watching.
There's other,
I mean, won more flat races than any other trainer in Ireland.
Yeah. Again, also eligible list then.
How many classics? I mean, he'd be very cross if I don't know the answer as well.
Exactly.
It's well up into the 20s, isn't it? 30s.
Yeah,
I don't know. Any lots.
Dermot Weld as another one then to add to a list. But we're pretty much in universal agreement then that Aidan O'Brien is our all-time flat trainers. We've all got him as number one on our list. Have we got it right though? Let us know in the comment section below. But we have now ranked our top 5 all-time flat trainers. Well, thank you so much for watching Inside Track, the debate brought to you by William Hill. If you'd like to look back at our previous episode where we rank our top 5 all-time flat jockeys, click the link in the video. 18+, please remember to gamble responsibly.